So, is it too late for you to rank your business and get your Google business profile into that three pack of Google to generate leads for the service you provide, be it a home contractor, home services, things like that? Is it too late to get to the top of those search results? The reason I want to bring this up is because I often get reached out to by different business owners that want to generate more leads, want to get found online, and just use the internet and Google in general to start generating leads for their business. And sometimes I do run into people that have opened up their eyes and realized that they have to get found on Google to start generating leads if they want to get leads online. And sometimes they find out a little bit too late. They see their competition starting to generate leads. They don't really know what's going on, how that's happening, until they finally realize that those business owners, their competitors, are ranking better online on Google, and they've completely missed the boat and they feel like they've been left out. So now they want to jump online and start to play catch up and see if they can get to the top of those search results. And the reason I wanted to share this quick video, I want to share with you guys a story of somebody who reached out to me in that specific situation. Now I'm not going to share their business details, where they're located or anything. The only thing I'm going to share is that they were in the pressure washing services industry. And I wanted to share with you guys the details of that story because it's a story that I hear often, and I'm sure you probably think about yourself. And it just reminds me of things that I used to say on this channel like 2 or 3 years ago. It used to tell contractors and home services and local businesses that they need to start jumping online. They really need to start to focus in and build out a really well structured website. They need to focus on that listing, update it, upload photos. They need to do that now because sooner or later, the vast majority of business owners are going to start to figure this stuff out. They're either going to do this stuff themselves or they're going to hire out agencies or firms to help them do this. So basically, this is how the phone call went with this gentleman. He said, "Hey, Izzy, man, I'm glad I found you. I'm glad I was able to get on the phone with you. I've been in the pressure washing industry now for like 6 years. I've been going at it. I've been marketing the old school method, a lot of word of mouth, a lot of hustling, a lot of knocking on people's doors, yard signs, flyers, things like that. Most of the jobs that I get, for new clientele, is me knocking on people's doors and just offering them a good deal, tell them that I can pressure wash their driveway or whatever it might be, clean their house. And it's been working out pretty good. It's been working out pretty good over the years. I've been staying pretty busy, and I ended up needing to hire somebody, and I hired out a kid to help me out with my pressure washing business. And I said, "Wow, man, that's pretty cool, man. It's cool to hear that kind of thing." And then he continued. So anyways, I've noticed that I'm just not getting as much business as I used to. There's a lot more competition in my area. There's a lot more people doing what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, the kid that I hired, he worked with me for a while. He basically just told me, he said, "Hey, man, I think I'm just going to go ahead and break away. I want to start my own pressure washing services, my own pressure washing business." And he said, "Go for it, man. Whatever makes you feel good or whatever you think is going to work for you, I totally understand. Go for it, man." So that's what the guy was telling me. He said that he hired off this kid. He worked really well for him. He's a good little employee, did all this work for him, but he wanted to drift off and do his thing. He says, "I didn't care. Go for it." He wasn't worried at all about this kid generating leads. He figured he's not going to be in business very long because it's very hard to get jobs. So as he was telling me this stuff on the phone, I was getting to know him a little bit more about his services and things like that. I'm like, uh-oh, I know exactly where this is heading. So he continued with his story. So he said, "Listen, Izzy, so I've been doing this stuff, right? I seen this kid who started his own pressure washing services. He did his own thing. And I seen him getting work and then another job and another job and another job. And I see him slowly start to grow in the area. I'm seeing his equipment out there. I've seen his truck. As a matter of fact, he even had his truck wrapped now. He's got logos and everything. And I just see him like, how in the hell is this kid getting so many damn jobs? I said, uh-oh, I know exactly where this is heading. So he continued with his story. So he said, "So Izzy, I keep in contact with this kid. He's a cool kid and everything, but he just didn't want to tell me." I started asking him, "Hey man, how are you getting all these jobs? How are you getting booked all the time? What are you doing to get this going?" So, "Well, I'm just doing a bunch of stuff. I'm doing some marketing and things like that." But the kid just was not wanting to tell me. I could just tell he didn't want to tell me his secret, what he was doing to get all these jobs. So the gentleman continues telling me that he starts to go online and starts to look and see ways to generate leads for his business using the internet. And he starts to see videos on YouTube showing home services and contractors, more particularly pressure washing services, how to generate leads online. And he says, so Izzy, I just started climbing down a rabbit hole, man. And I started to see all this website stuff and all this SEO stuff and all this Google business profile stuff. And I'm like, man, I've completely missed the boat on this stuff. I used to get calls about this stuff years ago, but I thought it was just a bunch of bullshit. I didn't bother with it. It just seemed stupid. I didn't think like it was going to be important of anyways. So I completely ignored it. And as I started to learn more and more about this SEO, and I'm like, you know what? This is exactly what this kid is doing. And I stopped him and I said, yeah, man, I mean, that's just exactly what's happened. I've run into this story more often than you realize. There's people that used to get leads, old school methods, or sometimes they were getting leads online on Google without them really realizing how they were doing it. And all of a sudden, that lead flow started to shrink down. They're not getting the clientele that they used to. So we continue with the story. So Izzy, I started doing searches. I started going on my computer and starting to look for pressure washing services, window cleaning services, pressure washing driveways near me. And I noticed his business was showing up on Google there at the top in that little 3-pack. And I'm like, you know what? That's how this damn kid's getting all this business. So I need to do that. So how exactly do I do that? So then that's when I stopped him and I said, well, you're basically going to have to do the exact same thing that he did. I went onto his website. It was really well structured. I'm going to show you guys just some random websites right here. It's not the same business, same location or anything like that. I want to, keep that between me and him. But I noticed the kid's website was really well optimized. It was search engine optimized. He had a lot of pages on his website. He was getting a lot of reviews on his Google business profile. He was uploading pictures. He was uploading pictures of himself and his equipment. He was doing a really, really bang up job. And he was positioning himself right in front of those people the moment they needed pressure washing services, their driveway cleaned, their windows cleaned, their solar panels cleaned, whatever they might need. When people looked those things up, his business profile was consistently, showing up on those search results. And that's why that kid was getting all those leads. A kid that this guy had hired years back now is completely taking over in that location. So then the guy starts to ask me, well, so what do I need to do to make that happen? I mean, I don't even have a website. I'm looking to get one done. I have my Google business profile, but I haven't touched that thing in like over a year. And I took a look at his online presence, which basically had zero. And he did have a Google business profile. And I think when I checked, maybe he had like 3-4 pictures on there. Maybe he had 2 reviews, 1 or 2 reviews. That's all he had. And I just basically told him, listen, man, now you're going to be fighting an uphill battle, because not only is this kid at the top of those search results, he's consistently in that 3-pack. You have 2 or 3 other people there, fighting it out, trying to get to those top spots as well. Now you have yourself an uphill battle, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. You got to start from zero. But still, is it going to be difficult for you to position yourself at the top? Yes, it's not going to be as easy as it was 2, 3, 4 years ago, but it still can be done. You're going to have to build a really, really strong website. You're going to have to build out 15, 20 pages on your website. You're going to have to start uploading on that Google business profile. You need to start working on those reviews. The people getting reviews in that small town are 20, 30, 40, 50 reviews. You have 1. Who do you think Google's going to refer? You think Google's going to refer your business who's got 1 or 2 reviews, no website, no pictures on his Google business profile, or the kid out there who's been hustling, he's got 100 reviews, he's got 15, 20 page website, he's working on his online reputation? Who do you think Google's going to recommend? So it's going to be an uphill battle. Is it going to cost you money? Yes. Is this money you're willing to pay? And I told him, let's be honest, a really well structured website is going to cost you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 over a long period of time. Working on those Google business profiles, the photos, and posting consistently, that's going to cost you a lot of time in order to make that happen. Now, are you willing to do that? That's completely up to you. I'm not here to twist anybody's arms, pull anybody's teeth. That's not my business. I don't give a shit. If you guys want to get online, go for it. I'm here to help you. If you don't, I totally understand as well. Use that money for continue with the flyers, continue with the yard signs, continue with all that stuff. But I'm just telling you the truth. This is what it's going to take to rank into that 3-pack for pressure washing services in that particular town. If you are unwilling to pay for that website or learn for yourself to build out that website for yourself and take the time, energy, and effort to build page after page after page, learn the basics of SEO and really structure out a really well website, well, you know what? Just don't compete online. It's just the way it's going to be. Compete out in the real in different marketing venues. He did tell me he was working on some kind of Facebook marketing and things like that, but it's just typical stuff that people do where they think people are actually on Facebook buying shit. They aren't. People are on Facebook just to screw on and fuck off and not really do anything, right? They're not in the buying mood when they're on Facebook. But that's one of the things he was doing. He was already spending, I think he told me like $500-600 every single month on Facebook ads, and he was getting basically nothing out of it. So it's just cold hard truth that you have to learn and you have to understand when it comes to this Google business profile, ranking your business on Google and things like that. And the guy really thought about it, and he said, well, Izzy, I don't know if I could afford that type of money to get things going. I mean, it's hard for me to make ends meet as it is. So I'm going to have to think about this and trying to figure out what I'm going to do to make this happen and try to get better searches online. And then one of the things I did tell the guy was like, listen, man, I took a look, man, you still got a chance. The top three they're good, but two of them you can outbeat and compete and knock them out of the 3 spot. At least you'll be in contention in one of those last 2 spots. But he wanted to sit it out and wanted to wait it out, which I totally understand. But what I tried to really make him understand that this is like a race. This is like a marathon. The longer you sit in the sideline, the harder it's going to be to rank at the top. And I told him too, listen, man, the fact that you went on YouTube, the fact that you started to sit down and started climbing down that rabbit hole and starting to see all this SEO stuff, website design, ranking on Google, getting recommended by Google, you think you're the only one who's out there doing that? You didn't know anything of this shit, through 3-4 months ago. Now you're starting to learn a huge amount about all this stuff. You think your competition isn't starting to figure that stuff out? They're going to start to figure it out. And then once they're glued to that 3-pack, cemented at the top. From what I've seen over the years, Google doesn't really like change. Once it finds its top 3, 4, or 5 to put in that map listing, it's just going to keep rotating and stick with those for as long as possible until somebody really, really makes some noise way down there with a truly maximized website, tremendous amount of reviews, backlinking locally in the area, things like that. That's the only way you're going to be able to surpass those people in that 3-pack at the top. The competition's getting fierce in some situation, some industries, and some services. Still, the situation that I saw him, it was not very difficult to do. I'm pretty sure if he really wanted to do it, if he had the money or the time to do this stuff himself, he could get into that 3-pack. It wasn't that competitive yet. I've seen some markets where it's unbelievable. It's a bloodbath of competition. Stuff like pressure washing, junk removal, cleaning services, just because of the ease of entry of those types of businesses. That's compared to like a concrete guy, somebody who builds decks, a home remodel, paving contractors. There's hardly anybody of those types of businesses really competing online in certain industries. So it's much, much easier to compete for those types of services. Well, needless to say, the guy never called me back. I'm guessing he's pulled out the little white flag and surrendered and figured that's it. I'm just not going to be able to rank on Google. And if he did wanted to do it, he wanted to do it on the cheap. It just doesn't work that way. It's the way Google's formulated this whole damn thing. It's caused it to cost you money, cost you effort, cost you energy to get your business at the top. Again, Google does not give a crap about your business. All it cares about is its own brand, and it's only going to recommend the businesses that are the best, to spend the money and energy and effort to market their services, build a badass website, really understand this SEO crap. That's who Google's going to recommend in that 3-pack. If you're unwilling to do those things, fine. It's not a big deal. Just market some other way. But just know that competing, getting to that 3-pack of Google is going to be virtually impossible once more and more businesses start to figure this stuff out. So just a quick story I want to share with you guys from, I get calls from business owners. They got a lot of questions, and I try to show them things that I've learned over the last, 6-7 years of doing this SEO crap, website design for home services and contractors and things like that. So if you're a local business that wants to learn how to build out their own website, like the ones I structure here on my channel for my clients and customers, go to the description below. I show people how to do exactly that. If you're a business owner who want to deal with any of this crap, just go ahead and book a call with me. I can show you what it would take to get your business found on Google, or if it's even worth it now in certain industries. But believe it or not, there's still pretty damn wide open for a lot of services, a lot of industries, and a lot of locations out there. So other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. Till next time.